Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Red Devils Roundup on the Balls Out podcast. Thank you so much to everyone that will be joining us tonight and choosing us over the Eurovision. Although, as you can probably tell by the lights in my living room, it is on, but I'm much more intrigued to talk to Mark tonight about what United have got in store. Obviously, we're going to be talking defeat at the Bridge last night. Quite a decent performance by all accounts, but we obviously playing with a little bit of a handbrake on. We're going to talk Bruno Fernandes, Player of the Year, probably well deserved, but considering the competition was Fred the Red in a very close second, it's not that much competition in that sense. And then we're going to start our build up to the Europa League final. But first of all, it's a good evening to you, Sir Mark. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I've dragged myself away from Eurovision. Now we've performed, so I'm ready to go. And yeah, very, very exciting week ahead of us, really.
Yeah, it could not be a more important week. Obviously, we should start by saying we both said backstage that we've both got a little bit of a buzz on seeing Man City absolutely schooled today. Crystal Palace,
Eagles!
yeah,
Eagles!
what a performance by Crystal Palace. Obviously, the one goal in it, Dean Henderson, former Red, upsetting Pep Guardiola at the end. It was just a joy to watch. So I think every neutral and every United fan in the land was absolutely buzzing for Crystal Palace, and they thoroughly deserved it.
Well,
And
I won't go that far, but it's nice to see Man City with their 1-1-5 get done by a blatant cheating goalkeeper who handballed outside the box.
well, there is that, but I think we'll
Justice
take it.
was served for the first time ever on Man City.
No, absolutely, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a different team win it. It's
First time ever. They've never
first
won it.
major trophy in Crystal Palace's history. Um, it's so good for football. It really
Yeah.
is. The only thing I take away from it though is that obviously this year Newcastle they won their first trophy in something like 70
70
years.
years.
Crystal Palace win their first trophy in their history. Spurs haven't won a trophy since 2008.
Okay, I don't go there.
So there may be some bad omens, but I
United have
want.
never finished this low down in the Premier League. There you go. There's omens everywhere.
But there's another omen that I spotted earlier, which is quite interesting. So 2017, City trophyless and United win the Europa League with a Portuguese manager who took over from an FA Cup winning Dutch manager. 2025, oh, disconnected. I'll read it out anyway. Where's he gone?
He is there.
There you go. Was it me or was it you? Was it both
I
of
don't know.
us?
It just came up synchronising.
Oh.
So whoever it was.
Yeah, 2017 was that, and then 2025 exactly the same. City trophyless. United are playing the Europa League final with a Portuguese manager who took over from an FA Cup winning Dutch manager.
Wow.
Take from that what you will. I mean, I'm not one for superstitions, but you just never
I'll take
know.
anything right now.
We'll take absolutely anything. It's the worst season in history. I can't wait for the Premier League to be over. But let's talk last night. So, Chelsea away, 1-0 defeat. But from what I could make out, I wasn't able to watch the whole game. I only managed to watch sort of the last half an hour, caught up on the highlights this morning. But we actually, considering Ruben's team selection, a lot of us were expecting a similar sort of weakened side. To pick a team that strong, first of all, was quite a brave move.
It was a very brave move. I get it, but at the same time, so he's picked a team based on I need them to have minutes in their legs. I don't want to rest them for too long.
Yeah.
But when you've got people like Enzo going around taking people out around their Achilles, and their swipes off the ball, and the amount of shit the ref let go. I mean, the refereeing last night was appalling. It was absolutely appalling. It was worse than the FA Cup I've just watched today. So, because tackles that are going in off the ball and no cards, nothing being produced. I think that's probably one of the things that led to our downfall by the end of that game is self-preservation.
Yeah. Like I said in the intro, it sort of felt like we were playing with the handbrake on just to avoid, like you say, get minutes into the legs,
Yeah,
get momentum in their form. Obviously, we're not taking away a win, but like get minutes in them. There was no injuries, thankfully. I can imagine that will probably be as close to, if not maybe one change to the actual final. Maybe Euro will come in instead of Shaw. Fingers crossed.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought we played well, considering.
See, that's the thing. Like, it is. It's always considering. Who was it? I was listening to someone the other day, and they went, ever since we got to that final, there's or got to the quarterfinals, there's the odd player, then a few more, then a few more, been like putting in less and less effort. I think in the league games.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously make it when we got 3-0 up in the first leg, it was right, we're not going to attempt anything in the league. But then that's the downside to football. If you start having a mentality like that, it's very hard to lift yourself up to get like for this Chelsea game, which
Yeah,
actually the most important game. It's more important than the final because it was important to go in on a high or in good form. So you're going in. You don't want to go in on a couple of back-to-back losses and things like that normally.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I didn't. We put some good stuff together, but again, going back towards our own goal, as Ruben called out, and I've been saying it on so many shows, no urgency, an inability to run, and we just looked knackered come second half. So we're just really not capable of playing 2 games a week.
no, no. It looked like first half we came out of the blocks quite well. Obviously, we had Harry Maguire up top again by the looks of it.
He was well out of position when he
Well
scored.
out
Like
of
everyone's like,
position,
"Oh, he
but it
stayed
was
up."
a well taken goal. I mean, come on, it
Uh,
was.
it's superb finish. It really was on the half volley, literally on contact with the ground. Great strike. Nick keeps it down. But this is just a bullshit offside rule. If I'm running towards you and you're running past me, we're never going to line up for an offside ever.
Yeah,
Like our bodies are in different motions, one moving forward, one moving backwards. This is where the offside has always been. And last week we slagged off Arsene Wenger, but he said this years ago. You need clear daylight
yeah,
because if I'm leaning forward and you're standing upright, I'm offside. But I'm in motion to go forward. They're holding a line. Don't move. You, it, yeah.
and
Thank God it wasn't like an absolute screamer, weldy of a goal that someone scores from an offside position. You're like, and you're ruling him offside by his toe.
yeah.
Imagine like Coventry last year.
Oh
He'd
God,
run
yeah,
on to hit it first time, flown top corner, and he's offside because of his toe. His foot's bigger than Harry Maguire's. But it is what it is. That was good football. We were putting crosses in the box. Good movement, good passes. Ahmad was pretty much put in the pocket, though, I will say. But we know this was the game I said, maybe full fitness this game, or his first game will just be the first game he plays 90 minutes in.
yeah.
I was very happy with the starting front three. Mount, Ahmad, and Rasmus. I'd like to come back to Rasmus. My opinion may have changed on him
Mm-hmm.
due to what, but I don't think it's his fault. I think this is another thing on culture at the club.
Okay.
But yeah, all in all, their goal was coming. By the end of the game, their goal was coming. It was a really well taken
It
header.
was a great goal, and of all the players, I really like Cucurella as a player.
Yeah, and their
Really,
man of
really
match
big fan of him.
Casado, another both from Brighton, both come from nothing
Mm,
and making it to the top. And what did I say last week about they're the kind of players I want to buy?
yeah,
Players who come from nothing, but when they hit the top, they keep pushing rather than get to the top, and which is my fear in the Cunha deals and things like that. But they will get to the top and plateau. That's it.
yeah,
Take the foot off the gas. So yeah, it was a shame, but yeah, it was the same issue. Maguire called it out. He was caught on camera shouting. Midfielders didn't run back. Someone should have been marking him. He's a fucking left back. Do you know what I mean? Coming in and scoring next to the centre back.
yeah. Really disappointing. But yeah, it is what it is. We've put minutes into the legs of the people we wanted. You wanted to come back on Rasmus. You said obviously about the culture at the clubs, obviously, and your opinion slightly have changed of him. What would you mean by that?
So it's obviously gone viral today as of last night. I don't think pretty much anyone's not seen it. Rasmus sent off the pitch because he's wearing an iWatch underneath the strapping on his wrist.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I talk a lot about mentality, don't I, on here, and we've had other, ex-players on and things like that. This is a culture within the club. It's been called out. Why so many players got strapping around their wrists, and their hands strapped up and things like that. Back in my day, you only one, and these are still the rules. These rules haven't changed. Wedding ring was you could tape up, didn't need to come off. Yeah. Anything else is off. Linesman or referee, their job is to check all of this in the tunnel before they come out. No one should be able to step foot on the pitch with something on they shouldn't have. You can't play in a snood. You can't play with even a little hair braid round your wrist. You know, the little bracelets on.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do any of that. Chains. I've seen earrings pulled off players recently. I've seen, I'll take that off. Someone's gone back. Shin pads not being put on. I think was Elise in Germany. Rules are changing, but they're still written in black and white, for they shouldn't. But if I'm captain, if I'm any member of staff, I'm not taping someone's wrist up with something they shouldn't be wearing.
Mm.
And if I see a player doing it, you pull him off. Rasmus is getting a lot of heat at the moment, and I've stuck up for him a lot because he don't get past to.
Yeah.
But maybe now, last night, seeing this made me think, is this the kind of shit you're pulling? And that's why they don't trust you. Because you're not listening. You're doing your own thing. Because there's not one person listening to this or that you can go to anything will think you can walk onto a pitch with a bloody watch on.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not right. And there's definitely a mentality change within the game, not just at United, that you can pull this sort of shit and get away with it. What? So let's say, because we were talking the other night, wasn't we, with Jonathan about the transfer rumours, and we mentioned obviously if we bought in a striker, are you selling Hoyland or are you sending him out on loan, or are you keeping him? And then
Depends
what
who
do
you
you do
buy.
with Zerk? Well, if you, let's say for example Delap.
If you buy Delat, I'm sending him on loan, and I still want another striker. I'm not buying a young striker without an experienced head in that box.
Mm.
You're just beating it. Unless the manager wants to micromanage and he's going to do everything. And let's be honest, there's a chance he doesn't. Two strikers is probably like shooting for the moon, because that ain't happening. I don't want an Osman. I see him as a problem kind of player. I joke about the Vardy on a free, but I'll take the lap with a Vardy. I see the lap almost a very young Vardy, almost a totally different style of play, but body shape mentality.
Yeah,
But when you've got players who've got no one to learn from, why did we all get excited when Rude came back as a coach?
because
Everyone was like, Rasmus has got someone he's got to learn from. And now we've got no one.
what was Ruben's position when he played?
CDM.
Oh,
Well, it was still technically centre midfield, but he was more of a Roy Keane sitting player. I think he said that, like he looked up to players like Keane, so that's
yeah,
why he takes the criticism well off of him.
yeah, absolutely.
But
But
he was a talker. He wasn't the greatest player. He was a disciplinarian, do your job, be in the right place.
yeah, be
So that's the other
professional.
side. I was like, if Rasmus is being a problem, he would drop him, even if he had no one else, he would drop him.
Mm. Yeah, so it's so difficult. But like I say, the team that played last night is probably most likely, apart from Shaw, obviously with Lenny Euro, hopefully fit enough to play. I would be happy with that, with the way it started last night, with the way that we obviously mentioned that it was obviously that Bruno was sitting a little bit deeper with Mount and ahead of him.
Yeah, and it was
Exact.
working. I thought that worked.
It's exactly what we've been crying out for the last 3 or 4 weeks, talking about it. That may be the system going forward. Obviously, maybe he's looking at the idea of Casemiro maybe leaving in the summer, with Bruno and Ugarte in the middle.
I found it more interesting, but it was Casemiro that played with him and Ugarte dropped.
Yeah,
I did find that really interesting because, like you say, about what's the one player that maybe would change? Well, I can't. I would have thought it was Casemiro out,
mm,
but he's been done so well for us. He didn't have a bad game last night. Didn't really get run through. And yeah, Lenny Euro to come in if he can pass the fitness test. But
yeah.
yeah,
Fingers crossed.
it's weird. We need Bruno there, but I thought alongside Ugarte as the mobility guy.
Yeah, strange, but we just hope that there's a plan. Speaking of Bruno, obviously, Player of the Year, so Matt Busby, Player of the Year. Like I say, there was no competition. It's been, and they cancelled the whole award dinner and ceremony, didn't they? There was no like big hullabaloo about it. It was just so Matt Busby, Player of the Year, voted for by the fans. Done.
Oh, he's got the players one as well, hasn't
Oh, we got the yeah.
he? Yeah, naturally he got the players one as well. But
Was there a young player?
I
Was there a young player? I assume it would have been Ahmad if it was.
can you even give it to Ahmed? He spent most of the season out injured.
Well, it just goes to show
Injured
how
start.
clinical goes to show how clinical he was before he got injured and
Yeah,
since
I
he's
know,
come back.
I know. Um,
You can't give it to Garnacho because he's been poor. His final ball has been atrocious all season.
yeah, Rasmus poor and
Mainu's again been injured for most of the season and hasn't really
Manu,
set the world alight.
Collier injured. Everyone's been injured.
Yeah.
Everyone has been injured. It's just gone
Aiden
less.
Heaven again would have
No,
been a good shout, but injured.
no, I didn't say anything about a young player. I just saw that Bruno picked up 2 awards, and I'm guessing
Yeah.
the other one was Players Player. Um, I can have a quick look in a minute, but yeah, the only person for I'm sorry, you could put close, and I'm probably going to make people spit out their food or drink or something. Was Anthony on loan?
Yeah.
Seriously, like who else has stepped up to the plate like Bruno? Anthony is the only one out on loan.
He's the only one out there that we've sent out. Like
Or
the
Harry
three.
Maguire. I've been proud of Harry Maguire
Yeah,
this
probably not. But yeah, that's probably what it is. It's more pride that he's stepped up, but he hasn't. It's probably not Player of the Year worthy, but honourable mention, 100%
been
probably
there
what
when we
he's
needed
right.
him.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to Anthony, out of the three sort of big names that we've sent out on loan, Anthony, Rashford, and Sancho. Sancho's been poor again. He clearly wants to be in Germany. Doesn't want to play anywhere else. Rashford only tried his best when it was Champions League, and then fell off the face of the earth, and now he's all of a sudden injured.
Yeah.
And Anthony's the one that's gone out, like pulled his socks up and gone, you know what? If I want to play for United again, I need to prove myself.
Anthony pretty much done everything Ten Hag said he could do as well on that loan. He said he's fast. Well, he's fast in Spain. He's fast in thing, but the Premier League's the fastest league out there. But yeah, the finishing, that's what happens when someone's on confident, got the confidence in them. The finishing is just not even thinking about it. One touch, I know where the corner is, and bending it in the corner. They're pretty much all the same. And he even scored an absolute weldy with his right on the volley past De Gea in the first leg of the semi-final. So, yeah, they're the only two players I could actually say have had a good season. And one of them shouldn't have even happened because he should have been here with us. So,
Yeah, disappointing. It's been like when you put it that way, the fact that Bruno was our Player of the Year, well deserved, but his competition was non-existent, and that our best player overall is Anthony, who's not even at the club, and is most likely to leave in the summer, probably to La Liga.
yeah. But I think it's true what they say about the United shirt weighing heavy, because how many players do we let go? But people are like, oh yeah, it was at United Academy, or it was this, or it was that, or there are fringe players we let go. They come back to Old Trafford and they cause us issues. Dean Henderson this season and last season, we couldn't score past him. It was pulling off weldies. The only time we did beat Palace, I think, in the last 2 seasons was the cup match where he pulled his hamstring like 4 or 5 minutes in because he had got a dodgy back pass, and he absolutely hammered it away on a cold night
Yeah.
and pulled his hammy. Um, yeah, it's disgusting, but it's mentality. But mentality comes from the top. The manager can only do so much. You need people to look up to, and Bruno's won an award. And
Again.
I'm a fan of Bruno's ability, but I'm not a fan of his leadership. I don't see anything he does on the pitch that makes me say I'm following you into war.
Mm.
Because it always comes across as a complaint. Now that can just be the fact that Sky or whatever broadcaster decides we pick up on him when he's throwing his arms around, waving, shouting at someone, but they don't want to put the camera on him when he's going, "Come on, lads!" Clapping the hands,
Yeah.
trying to G him up. We might not see it as much on TV, so that there's a perception. But just in general, players mention Casemiro and Harry Maguire at the moment as the people they look up to, and Bruno. It's like that. Well, Tyler Fredrickson done it in his latest interview. Didn't even mention Bruno. It was all about Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah, and that's what we need. We need there's something to be said. Inter, that if you look at Inter Milan, they brought in 4 or 5 old players. They made the Champions League final because they need experience. You need as much experience as you can have in pace. If you've got a ridiculously fast team, they tend to be young. So you need old heads saying, "No, don't sprint after that ball. You ain't going to get there."
yeah, no, absolutely right. It's just that we've been screaming out for leadership for so long, ever since probably you could probably argue since Rooney left. He was probably the last real sort of leader in the dressing room. I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head.
Moyes got rid of a lot of our leaders.
Moyes, yeah, well, Rio.
Where he upset so many players with what he did when he came in. He was told to keep the staff on, didn't, pissed the players off. They didn't want to sign new contracts or they retired because they didn't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Rio's spoken about it. Going down to QPR is the worst thing he could have done. He should have retired. Who else? We have people like Evra still at the club. All these people who are diehard, you see them on social media, loving Man United. I know that some of that can be fake because anything linked to Man United can get you more clicks.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds an ironic thing to say doing this right now. But these players, they're getting a punch up. That's the easiest thing to say. They're getting a punch up on the pitch to defend the team.
Yeah.
And the last time I saw that was the Fulham game when Casemiro got sent off for grabbing someone's collar, as he never touched his throat, but was sent off for that. That was the last time I've seen any fight in the Man United team.
Even in Rasta, David Moyes was the big mistake and the downfall of our winning streak. I despise that man. That's a really interesting take, actually, because I've spoken about David Moyes in the past.
Yeah.
That I think he was 100% the best manager at the worst time.
Well, look what he's still gone on to win trophies and do stuff. But just because he came into Man United with a good team didn't mean that he was going to do well. He made stupid mistakes, but has that now made him a better manager?
I believe so. I think if he was given longer, I would say 2 or 3 years, you would have started seeing. We would have probably been challenging around the top 4 in the second season, and then challenging in the top for the title probably in his third season. Yeah. But I know, because it was such a big fall from grace the first year, and we all did it. We were all United fans at the time that were sort of saying, "Hang on a minute, this ain't right. We're United. We should be winning Premier Leagues." And in the very latter stage of the Champions League, we nearly won the Champions League under David Moyes. It wasn't until the Bayern game that we really fell out.
Yeah.
With that Evra scoring that wonder goal in the sort of first 10 minutes. And then we fell off from there. So, but no, I understand There we go. The fact that our club's most decorated manager sanctions his appointment rubbed me the wrong way. I'm wounded over that. Yeah, I get that. I
I
do
agree
get
with
that.
that.
We
I
100.
agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. It wasn't the right thing to do. Sir Alex should probably have never been given the responsibility to choose his successor. In especially when it was David Gill and Sir Alex leaving at exactly the same time. That was poor from the hierarchy,
Well,
really.
that wasn't meant to have happened, was it? So David Gill was meant to have been there. I watched an interview with David Gill, and basically he said, well, he wasn't leaving the club. So when um, Ferguson handed in his notice the second time, was like, I'm going, blah blah blah. Something else had happened. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then David Gill was like, "Oh, I'm going to go as well," and that was it. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, it was like, okay, we can fix a car when one wheel falls off, but we're fucked with two wheels fall off. And those two work together on every single deal. But right appointment, wrong time. I don't think it was ever the right appointment. I think we've helped him out on his career to make him a better manager now. But you can't tell me for going for your Mourinho. Wenger was interviewed before we employed Moyes. That's also come out in recent past. United approach to get Arsene Wenger in. Which would have been amazing.
Thank
So,
you so much, mate. Really appreciate that. 100% appreciate that. We're
what
going to come on.
we never went after an Ancelotti or someone like that.
What we should have got an Ancelotti instead of David Moyes.
Those kind of managers around that time, there's still big names, big managers out there that we
No,
could have
I'm
gone
not.
with.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't.
It was just such a weird, like, but he's my Scottish mate. We're going to get him. That's
Yeah,
how most United fans looked at it.
it was so because nobody anticipated that. Well, I think we all knew eventually it would end, but the way it ended, and it was like, right, I'm retiring at the end of the year. David Moyes is your new manager, and we were like, yeah, okay, we've got to get behind him. And it was just the drop off so quick and so drastic. And the signings, what was it, Mata and Fellaini?
He couldn't get any. They were late signings. He ended up getting like third, fourth. Well, how many times have we said that? He didn't get his number one or number two signings. He was getting people at the end to fill the gaps he needed. It's quite funny because what we're technically talking about is the complete opposite to what Liverpool had to deal with this season. Because Klopp announced it halfway through the season, I'm going at the end of the season. They bring in Slot. He didn't change things. He tweaked the midfield to play one or two extra passes, kept everything else pretty much the same. They've won the fucking league, which they were always knocking on the door of doing anyway. Whereas Moyes came in, changed the coaches, changed mentality. Plenty of players have said this in Ferdinand, Rooney, things like that.
Hmm.
And it fell off. Where you really, if you're coming in, I've got a new CEO coming into our company. I've already said I guarantee he doesn't touch anything for a year because he wants to see how it runs first before you start making small changes. But Moyes came in with a sledgehammer, and I do agree he started his downfall, but we could have recovered from that. We
And
could
there
have.
was also, I mean, he came out and he did. Who did it? He did an interview for someone. Might have been the Gary Lineker
CEO?
podcast. Might have been Diary of a CEO. Whoever it was, he was on the. They were on the verge of signing Fabregas, weren't they?
Yeah.
And that was like nearly done deal. And then something happened, and he ended up staying or go to Chelsea. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, something
yeah,
happened.
I think that's when he then went to Chelsea, wasn't it? But every manager we've had has had deals where, as we look back and go, "Fuck me, if only."
Mm.
You know, Moyes, Van Gaal, maybe he brought in some bad players that we couldn't get rid of age-wise. Just didn't suit the Premier League. Great players didn't suit the Premier League.
Oh, Wilfred
Uh,
Zaha as well. That was ran. That was like there was all
Well,
that.
no, it wasn't random.
Mm.
That was don't shag my daughter because now I'm
Yeah,
not going to play you. Because
yeah.
that's why Saha didn't work out. One of the most fouled and still one of the best left attacking wingers the Premier League has seen, in my opinion.
There you go. Evening. Yeah, Fellaini came in August after season started. Mata came in Jan. Moyes was bad, but Glazers didn't help him. He wanted Cruz and Woodward couldn't get him from Bayern.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Didn't offer him the deal. But then again, United or Madrid, it's sun or rain, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, it's one of those things. But we are where we are now, and we're all looking forward to Wednesday. And then after Wednesday, we'll all be looking forward to August.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not sure I'm looking forward to the start of the new Premier League season.
Maybe not.
I'm
Then
not looking. I'm looking forward to this season ending and not having to really. I mean, we're going to do shows obviously during the pre-season, but not really. I couldn't really care less about the pre-season friendlies. It's going to be more transfer stuff. We're going to be really getting in on that. We're going to have some. I'm going to do some quizzes as well. That'll be really fun. We've already
the
got an
transfer
in.
stuff I love. I do love the like. I done shows prior, over the last 2 years, and these signings are now getting snapped up. Obviously, you got Frimpong. Did you see that this afternoon? The Here We Go comes out as the FA Cup kicks off. Like,
Yeah.
well, that's well timed, isn't it? So people couldn't like burst the news there and then. Frimpong, I've been talking about. Edison. You've got the Canadian striker in France, Jonathan Davies.
Mm.
All of these kind of people that I would think he's the striker I would go for. You know, we was talking about Rasmus a minute ago. He's been in France. He's been second top goal scorer behind anyone from PSG for so many years now. I think 3 years running.
Yeah.
Or really, should be the highest. If you take PSG out, he's always top goal scorer. So now he's experienced and he's international. So that so it makes a big difference. So yeah, I love doing all the transfer things in the summer and just calling out the bullshit of like the Snyders, the things like that. But
Oh God, yeah.
it's not funny for us. We are shit.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of that during the pre-season and the off-season. We're going to do a lot of transfer rumor stories. We're going to do some. We'll do little previews and reviews of like pre-season games, but honestly, I won't watch any of them. I never have done. Couldn't really care less.
I'm watching for a good laugh and a good to see how the youngsters step up. That's the
You
main
know,
thing.
it's obviously great for the fans all around the world that get to watch United, but it's always been for me a really poor attempt at making money, and it just annoys me.
10 million for this 2 games in Thailand. We're getting 10 million.
Mm,
Right, we've paid Rashford more than that while he's been on loan. So what's the fucking point?
yeah, well, they've got to recoup that somehow.
Well, no, yeah, we'll get it.
You're
There's
gonna
one
have
way of looking at it,
Bruno
but I'm like
phoning. Bruno's gonna
two,
be phoning Marcus up saying thanks for this. Now we've got to go and fucking play in Guadalupe.
but 2 weeks of rest, bring them back 2 weeks earlier into pre-season to work on stuff, or do we go play pointless fucking games where we're going to take more of the youth
Oh
and
yeah,
not play them? But they will be contractual. You have to play X amount first team players for these friendlies.
oh yeah, but that'll be an easy fix. You just take Luke Shaw, Victor Lindelof, Johnny Evans before his contract goes out. You can just take
Bruno will
all.
have to play. People like that. They will have to play because he's captain. That's what I mean. There's media commitments, all this bullshit they do now. Is that nothing's good for the players.
Yeah, before we move on to that, yeah, one last thing I'll say before I go. Appreciate you coming on, mate. Really do. Look forward to having you back. Don't trust this ownership. We have Ineos. They are frauds and mistakes. They have made already. Sums up how I feel about them. Yeah, 100% agree. It's not looking good. Fingers crossed it gets better. But this preseason friendlies and stuff that stinks of an Ineos
Interesting
thing.
figures came out about Ratcliffe this week. He's gone from 23 billion as personal wealth back down to like 17. Where the hell has he lost like 6-7 billion? 6-7 billion he's lost off his personal wealth.
Hmm.
So
And he
what, have
said
they
we
got
actually
stuff
haven't
going on
touched on
behind the
this.
scenes?
We haven't touched on this, have we? He's actually put. They're in the process of putting his other club up for sale, aren't they?
It has to, or he's going to have to do something along the lines of what it
What
was a bit of a
Marinakis
joke.
did.
Nottingham Forest have just done, putting his shares into a thing, but it's not shares. It's Ineos themselves that own fucking Nice,
Mm.
and he owns that company, so he can't put his shares of Ineos into holdership, and he can't put his United ones in. One's owned by a company, and one's owned by, well, the sporting side of that company. You know what does Team Sky and that. And in actual Manchester United is his own.
Yeah.
So it's two separate things. So it's really, I do keep seeing it coming up, but I do think it's always a bullshit story because the big outlets don't talk about it. Well, it doesn't matter if Man United win the Europa League; they're banned from the Champions League currently. You know, that would just be the number one headline.
Yeah, interesting.
Because that would destroy the players, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that would change their attitude of why are we even trying. We're not, unless he does X or Y, we can't play in Champions League. So
yeah, it's interesting.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them currently, but they are also making mistakes.
Yeah, let's just hope that he's given the back in the summer to do what he's got to do, clear out a lot of the deadwood that we've been so desperate to get rid of already, and yeah, we'll just go from there. That's all we really can do. Let's now look ahead to Wednesday. We're going to do. I'm going to try. Please try to do a show on Monday and Tuesday as a sort of build up to the final people availability, depending. But let's do a little bit of a preview, taking into account Tottenham's result last night. Now, Ruben did it very differently. He picked pretty much the squad that we're expecting to play in the final. Ange did exactly the opposite. Pretty much. There was maybe 3 or 4 changes. Brought a few more players in.
Yes, but so Ange's obviously picked up injuries, but he's definitely not going to have those players.
No.
So I think he's gone air of caution. I'd rather rest pretty much all my players and not run the risk of having my best starting 11. Whereas Ruben's gone, I know my best starting 11. Mason Mount needs minutes in his legs. Ahmad needs minutes in his legs. I wouldn't have played Rasmus yesterday. Forget everything else I said at the beginning of the show. Again, would have played Obi just to give him a rest because he is our only current fit striker. And then, yeah, Spurs. It wasn't it? It's like we did what we expected maybe Spurs to do, and Spurs did what they expected us to do. Here we go.
Oh, come on.
One more click.
There we go. So that was the starting 11 for, Reguilon. I completely forget that he's actually still in the Premier League.
Do you know what? If he was still on loan at us, he would be a good left wing back.
100%. And when he played for us, he was really good. Like, he played his heart out. He wasn't brilliant, but he was like a very solid left back.
Yeah. So he had to play Son because Son's back from injury. I was going to say illness, injury. He played Son. What did he give him? 60? You got it there.
Son came off on the 74th.
Okay, so it gave him longer than you would have thought. But that's to get minutes in his legs. But then, look at the other names. Richarlison came on, Brendan Johnson came on, Solanke came on. You know, Bentancur, I'm surprised he even put on the pitch because he's going to need him. And that's playing out of position.
Yeah.
I know it does. So he's done a change in formation near the end because although it shows it like that, you're not playing Bentancur as a left back when you've got Spence.
Yeah.
Who's a left, can play that.
So he dropped
Keeper for Cario, Richarlison, Solanke, Pedro Porro, Brendan Johnson, Basuma's hit and miss, but I would say he rested him, and Bentancur. So yeah, he's dropped most of them. Most of them, like I say, played Son and played Spence. That I would have in my starting lineup out of all of that, and maybe Sarr. Because he can't play Tell, can he? It's Tell.
Cup tied, I think, isn't he?
I think he's cup tied, yeah. So he can't play Tell.
Does that still
But
count
then
though? Because obviously it was Champions League.
it was
Would
a
it still
Labour
count? Oh yeah, of course. Ignore me.
season. But it is what it is.
Yeah, so they're off. They're coming off the back of a 2-0.
I don't know how it works actually saying in that. I would have thought Anthony would still be cup tied because he played in one competition and it isn't. So maybe they've changed the rules again.
Yeah, maybe.
So
Let's bring up. Oh, tomorrow's games. Where are we?
other websites are available.
Yeah, other sports websites are available indeed. May results. Thank you. Oh, there he is. Who's that?
What, trying to grab him? You guys say. Oh no, that's
Mazraoui.
Harry Maguire going for him, and you guys say what should have been marking him or Ahmad, and
Yeah,
that's what he was shouting at.
what a header. But anyway.
What's his old school header, isn't it? You don't see many like that.
So yeah, that is what we have been. So that middle partnership is what we've been crying out for weeks.
Do you know what? I don't think he drops Shaw. I think he drops Lindelof for Euro. Well, there's an option there on the right. You either bring in Euro for sure, and then on the right you go Mazraoui right centre back, Dallo right wing back, and put Garnacho and Mount in the tens.
Yeah, I didn't even realise Aiden Heaven. Did he get a yellow card off the ball? Like he wasn't even on the pitch.
Aiden Heaven got a yellow card for being two-footed himself.
Oh, okay, that's
So
good.
again, VAR absolutely fucking pointless.
I'll be honest. I apologise, but I genuinely didn't know he was back. I thought he was still injured.
He turned up. He got off the bus. That's all we knew about it before the game. But he slid in. They a 50-50 ball. Both slid into it. He's caught the player on the back of the knee because he's slightly pulled out of the tackle. But who was it? Gattuso jumped in 2 feet, both feet off the floor into that tackle. And yet Heaven gets a yellow card for it. And there's other games where that could have been a red card to the Chelsea player for the way he jumped in.
So, is there not a world that we live in where
Yes,
he will?
I know what you're going to say.
He will play. Oh bloody hell! Go away. He will play Yoro one side, Heaven on the other,
Maguire in the middle.
Guy down the middle,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then you could play Mazraoui as the right wing back.
Dorgan on the other side.
It's interesting that he came out for Garnacho's tired. I was like, well, this ain't the right time to be told that someone's tired, right? Hence the reason people are thinking that's why he was dropped and he played Mount and in the 10 instead of Garnacho and Ahmad.
Right.
Because we know Ahmad can play right wing back, and we know that Garnacho can't play either of the wing backs. He's just not capable of defending. So yeah, there is a way that Heaven comes in. Heaven left, Maguire, Mazraoui or Euro, and then that opens that side up.
Yeah.
With Ahmad going right wing back and Garnacho in front of him. But I wouldn't trust those two to pass each other the ball. So
yeah, and I just don't. I don't trust. If Garnacho starts, I really worry.
he's such a good impact player. Such a good impact player.
But it's just his final decision making in every opportunity he gets. It's just always the wrong one, and it really bugs me every single time it happens.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I can't agree more. I can't agree more. And it's not because he doesn't look up. He looks up and blatantly chooses the wrong choice.
yeah.
So, but it is what it is. Defence, I'm not really worried about. The main thing I'm worried about is the legs. Tottenham are built around pace.
Well, we've had a few saving graces. Obviously, James Maddison's out, which is good. Dejan Kulusevski, who absolutely schooled us in the last time we played them.
Yeah.
So he's out. We're hoping that because he's played a lot of sort of bomb squad, that these players aren't going to be able to keep up. So I think legs are going to be an issue for both sides. It really is, and I said it about the Barca Inter game a few weeks ago. It's a bit like fire and ice. Whereas this, it's the same, but not in the way you like it. It's a case of that both of these teams are horrendous.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
So this could end up being the worst Europa League final in history.
But yeah,
Or
they're both superb been superb in Europa League. So
yeah,
and someone made this point, didn't they? For okay, United look great. Is that the substandard of the Europa League this year with no Champions League teams in it?
mm,
But now you're going to put two. You can't say the Europa League is that poor for basically the two teams that have avoided relegation and made the final of it.
yeah.
And because if that's the case, then the spots should be up for anyone. Do you know what I mean? In our league, we'll do it on fair
Well,
play
yeah.
because you're literally saying the two worst teams left in the Premier League can make the final of the second biggest competition in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, when you flip it like that, that's just, which means that teams above us, West Ham, Wolves, Palace,
Mate, Chelsea played
Newcastle,
their fucking under
Brentford.
16s and 17s in the second semi final and still made the final
Yeah.
in the second leg of the conference because the other leagues aren't out there of our standard.
Is the jump from Europa League to Champions League gigantic?
No, no,
No.
not in this new format.
No.
Not in this new format at all. In this new format, because we got 5 teams, and it will we knock someone out of the Champions League? So it'll be 6 teams in
There'll be
Champions League.
6 Champions League teams represented from England next year, yeah.
Because in years past, that 5th spot wouldn't have got taken. It would have gone to the chat if a European team won it.
Yeah, so
If there's 6 English clubs in there, you're pretty much guaranteeing an all England semi-final.
yeah.
Because there's other teams in there who are fucking horrendous. You're going to have champions of, I don't know, Czechoslovakia, things like that qualifying. Well,
Yeah.
we
And
will never even
I don't know
qualify.
what the implications are for now that Palace won the FA Cup.
Palace, so now Europa League goes down to 6th spot. Oh, no, hang on. It can't go down to 6th spot. It already was 6 spots if there's 5 teams in the Champions League.
Right, bear with me.
Is it 8th spot? It might be 8th spot. I might have just got that wrong.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to think myself. No, I think it is. Europa League is now only whoever finishes in 6th because the 2nd spot has gone to Palace. It only ever normally went down because a team in the Champions League always won the FA Cup for God knows how long.
Top 5 teams in the Premier League will qualify for the UEFA Champions League. Teams ranked 6th and 7th will typically qualify for the UEFA Europa League. The team finishing 8th may qualify for the Europa Conference League, depending on domestic cup results.
So Newcastle will be in a potential European spot, and they won, so they take Europa League spot. Currently, as it stands, I believe
Right,
they're in 6th.
let's get the table.
But I think by Palace winning, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th that will qualify.
6th, 7th, and 8th will top 5 Champions League.
Because you've got to think
Oh, here we
Chelsea
go.
win conference, that's a Europa League spot. It's really fucking complicated. It could have gone all the way down to 11th this year.
Oh, so I don't think there's Europa Conference League play up for grabs now.
Well, no, we have to represent. Everyone has to be represented in each competition. This is what I mean. No one actually knows until the season almost finished who's going to finish where again. I know that's what happened last year with us. Remember how we pushed someone into it by winning the FA Cup.
We pushed Newcastle out of it completely. They were
Yeah,
supposed to be in the Europa League, and then we just pushed them out of all of it.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen again with Palace. Palace are in 12th,
But
currently.
basically, Palace have taken someone's Europa Conference League space.
Yes.
Right.
So that someone it should now be no. Palace have taken a Europa League spot.
It was ridiculous.
It's mental. I'm sure I'm right. Palace have taken a Europa League spot, now pushing someone else into the conference spot from a Europa League spot. And the financial implications of that must be huge.
So currently, Man City qualify for the Europa League.
Yeah, there's your winner right there.
Yeah.
Let's see if they're not allowed to qualify for the Champions League next year.
So if Palace have won the FA Cup, does that now not mean that pushes Man City out of that?
No, there's three Europa League spots.
Oh, shit, a brick.
You think
So
we're in it with Tottenham and
Brentford will get pushed down.
into, I think, the Conference League, and then whoever's in the Conference League gets pushed out.
So that means Brighton will be pushed into the conference,
It should be amazing for them, and they're capable of winning that.
which then pushes Bournemouth out of it completely.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've made sense of that.
You see my great transfer knowledge today? When I said about out of all the Bournemouth players the other week, the only one I'd want is the centre back, and he's just signed a 5-year deal with Real Madrid.
Typical.
And he's only 19.
Yeah. Crazy what Real Madrid are doing. I thought they had no money, but there we are. That's a different talking subject or tool. If we don't speak, we probably will speak before the final, but let's get your predictions on it.
I'm a bit like Ruben Amorim. It'll be the fourth time we played him this season, so we've got to win it.
We must have learned something.
Yeah, but I could see it's been like a 4-3.
I can see it being a proper barnstormer or a horrendous final.
Yeah. I don't know if we need like Roy Keane in a changing room or something with the old days of it's Tottenham. We always beat Tottenham. You know, we need that. But I don't know. Yeah. 4-3 after extra time, but no penalties.
4-3 after extra time. I'm gonna go 3-1 United.
I don't think we lose, and I think that's what everyone's going to go. How the fuck have they gone through their season undefeated in Europe and finished 17th?
And finish the worst of the best in the Premier League.
Yeah, and Tottenham finish above us in the league.
Like, remember, before we do leave, at one point 40 was the magic number in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and we're currently sitting on 39. We are so lucky that Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton have been appalling, because we would have been right in there.
So something to think about for maybe not the next couple of shows. We're focused on Europa, but for like end of season, have we been part of the best Premier League season or the worst? Because some of these teams and where they're finishing, no one would have had. You know, they're what they call coupon busters. You wouldn't have seen some of these results. Bournemouth being that high up, you know, that sort of thing. You thought they might have a good season and finish, you know, mid-table and not relegation zone. But, you know, is this how strong the Premier League is now, where everyone can beat anyone? So are we going back to the 90s when it started?
Well, think of it like this. In Wolves' last 5 matches, 4 wins, 1 loss. And they're only on 41, so they're only 2 points above us.
Yeah. Yeah. With the managerial change this season as well.
In our last 5 games, 4 losses, 1 draw.
Well, I'd rather not look at that new stat that's come out. It's the first time that we haven't had back-to-back wins all season. Like, that's just sums us up. It's bad, but it's not surprising.
No. Not surprising at all. Yeah, I'm going 3-1. Do you want to do a goal scorer?
Uh,
Ahmad.
yeah, I was going to say I'm going to have to say Ahmad to score the winner, whatever it is, because I said this weeks ago, didn't I? I could see that was the return. The only caveat to that is if either are on the pitch, Mount or Ahmad to score the winner,
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
I don't know which one survives till the end of the game.
I would love. My dream goal scorer would be Erasmus hat trick.
Oh no, I'll take a Rasmus hat trick, but I'd love a
Just to,
Chelsea player to beat Tottenham and still stop them from lifting
yeah.
the trophy.
Let's say 4-1 United. Rasmus hat trick and a Mason Mount.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That'll
So
do. 4-1 United. Yeah. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you all for getting involved. If you've enjoyed what we've been about, please like and subscribe. Head over to our Twitter page at BallsOut_pod. Keep an eye out on our socials for new shows coming out soon. We do 2 shows a week where we can. We've been on a pretty good run recently, so we will be keeping that up to date. And we're going to be doing, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll do a couple of shows in the build up to the Europa League final, Monday and Tuesday. And then we'll do a big review of it next week. Regardless of result, we will still be available. Thank you very much for joining me, Mark. Really appreciate it. And
yeah.
we will see you all again soon.
All right, take care.